Hey, audiences, thanks for being here. Welcome to another Q&A for SF Indie Fest 2023, our 25th year of bringing great independent movies to you outside of the Hollywood mainstream kind of stuff. And we're lucky enough today to have the filmmaker for Attack of the Flies, a movie you probably just watched. The Attack of the Flies director, August Leo. Hey, August, thanks for being here.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Where are you calling in from?
I'm calling in from Detroit right now. So unfortunately, I'm not getting the same weather as everyone in the audience is probably getting right now.
Well, I'm in San Francisco and it's been raining nonstop here for it seems like months, but so I can feel you. But thanks for being here, and let's talk about your film a little bit. Um, that opening terrified me. I'm glad I didn't watch it at night. It would have gave me some nightmares. Well done. Talk about your film a little bit. What was the inspiration?
Yeah, definitely. So to talk about that opening really quick, it's interesting because originally we were going to have that scene in the middle of the film. And, right after that opening, it kind of draws the attention of the crowd in, hopefully. And then it kind of goes slow for a while before we start building it back up. And one of my producers, Evan Hansen, had the great idea. He's like, just throw that in the beginning. Let's just get the audience going immediately. And I hope it worked. I've got some good feedback from
It
that.
does work. When did that decision come about? Like during production,
That was
during editing?
about a week before shooting. So
Wow.
we weren't, I wasn't going to do that at all. I had no idea to do that. I thought, let's just ease the crowd in. We don't want to scare them up front, but I think it was a good idea because it does get slow for a second there, trying to basically let the audience know where this world is. And we're introducing characters and situations. So I'm really happy that we decided to just punch the audience right away.
I think it was a good choice, and it sets the tone. And then also, it's kind of information that is used again later in the movie because, we're asking the question, what was that about? Why did that guy do that? And then it's kind of answered later on with the other characters, so it made sense, right? It's tied into the story later.
Right, right. Hopefully that worked out and made
It
sense.
does. It does. Well done. You created, just this great atmosphere, this great world, using black and white with the slower paced scenes. Um, so was that deliberate from the start? Did it come out the way you kind of envisioned?
It definitely came out how we were envisioning it. We had a huge inspiration from Lighthouse, Eggers' film that came out a few years back, and we loved the black and white there. Obviously, with a budget, we couldn't shoot it on film, unfortunately, but we basically went into it knowing that this was going to be the vibe and the aesthetic of the film. So we were lucky enough to kind of have those locations, and we shot everything on location that really played well with black and white. So
Yeah. Now, was the black and white a choice for emotion and mood, or was it a choice for other independent considerations?
well, it was mostly a choice of just trying to get the audience to buy in, and seeing that the movie takes place in the 1920s, and we're on a farm out in the middle of nowhere in the Peninsula of Michigan. I just figured that black and white would really lend itself to that. We obviously we shot it in digital, so we could see what it looked like in color, and we have a colored edit. It just was a little bit too poppy, and it didn't really feel you didn't feel as depressed and
Yeah.
emotional about it.
Well, yeah, it lends itself. So was that black and white decision deliberate from the get-go, or was it also decided during the process?
Well, it was definitely something that I wanted to do the entire time,
Okay.
and I had some pushback from my DP and producers, and um,
Why is
so
that?
well, mainly, so we did have you have so much texture in this film, like when it comes to color, and we were lighting it for color for the first half of the film. We were lighting it for color, but in my head, in my mind, I was like, oh, we could edit this in black and white. I know a good colorist that can make this black and white work. Um, and so I didn't really push back too much because at the end of the day, I'm going to make the decision. I knew that we had shadows, we had the great location for black and white, but let's just keep everything smooth. We're on such a small budget. I don't need to start throwing curveballs.
Right.
So
Yeah. No,
we
definitely.
shot
You
the
get
whole
enough challenges with independent filmmaking.
exactly. So we shot the whole thing, and we did honestly. We made the first edit was color. Um, I just didn't buy it. I think that it just played out better. Um, you
It
know,
does, in my opinion, too. It was the right choice. And also because it's Prohibition era, 1920s, as you said. So we didn't have, well, maybe we did, but I don't think we had color film back then. So it kind of like goes hand in hand with the period of the setting of your movie.
Right. I thought it was something that people could buy into.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it worked. And then also we can talk about it added to the tone and mood of, would you call this a horror film? Definitely suspense, right? It added to that suspense.
Yeah. It's definitely like a suspenseful psychological thriller. It's not necessarily horror. I don't think. I
Right.
mean, I'll sell it as horror if I have to. But, I don't know if it is. To me, it's more psychological thriller.
Yeah.
Definitely it has like a little bit of erotica in there. So mix that all together, and this is what you get, I guess.
Yeah, thoroughly enjoyed watching the movie, or I don't know if enjoyed's the word I should use. It had me tense and uneasy. Like I said, I'm glad I watched it during the day. But talk about, like, was that what you wanted to create? Did you want to come out and make audiences? Where'd the inspiration come from?
Well, the inspiration originally came from a story that my dad told me maybe 15 years ago about this idea of fireflies signaling aliens to land. So that was what he told me. I might have, yeah, I was in middle school and I just started making films. So I thought this would be a cool idea. I started writing. I made a short film about it, which actually was fireflies attracting aliens. So it was very sci-fi.
Okay.
Then I didn't really touch it or think about it for about 10 years. And maybe 5, 6, 7 years ago, I started writing it into a feature film. And it really had nothing to do with the original idea.
The sci-fi part.
Yeah, the sci-fi part. And I think over the last, I'm 30 now, started writing it about 7 years ago, kind of developed into what it is today. And I'm really happy with it, for the restraints that we had and for being first feature film. I think my team killed it for sure. They were all on point. My DP, obviously amazing, as you can
Yeah,
see.
yeah, we loved it here. It does have that sci-fi element that never really, it's not your approach for this film, if I may, but the fact that it's sitting there, makes the audience, wonder, right? That's great.
Yeah, yeah. We could have gotten. We had different versions of the script where the scientists come to the land. We kind of go deeper into their lives. But at the end of the day, it was a story about Elizabeth and Henry, and that we kind of wanted to stay in that world
Yeah.
without distracting and, bringing too much on people's plates. It's already a hard movie to digest, I think. And I'm just hoping that people enjoyed it and got
Yeah,
it.
for sure, we did, and that's what's wonderful about it. Like the less is more approach that you brought to it for whatever reason, because of indie filmmaking or just because of artistic choices, that only aided your movie. The fact that it was basically about the health of our main characters, right? The mental health of our main characters. So that was really good. How was it working with the actors? How they they did it's great acting, very good acting.
Yeah, I thought so too. I think, obviously, if you give someone the script to read and everything that you see on screen is exactly laid out in the script. So there was no, surprise today, you're going to be doing this.
Nude scenes.
Yeah, nude scenes, of course, and cutting scenes and abuse, smoking 5,000 cigarettes through the,
Right,
filming.
right.
So I wanted to make sure that they knew I loved them right away just on the reads. I went through, for the role of Elizabeth, I think I had 1,100 submissions to play that role.
Wow.
Took me forever to find Jet Jandreau, who played her, and she was amazing. But I had to tell her, this is gonna be, I'm not just gonna, not do what I'm writing. Like, this is it. This is my vision, and this is exactly what we're gonna do. So you're gonna be naked in this scene. You're gonna cut yourself in this scene. You're gonna have a sex scene here. You're gonna be doing this. And she said, let's go. I love the script. Let's do it. She signed off, and we were, hit the ground running. Obviously, Henry, he had to do a lot of uncomfortable things as well, taking advantage of her, abusing her, drinking ridiculous amounts, killing Jones, so there's all this stuff. I had to make sure, because I knew that this was a dark script and it was pretty risky, especially for actors and actresses who are, still coming up in the world. So they took a chance on me, and luckily they both seemed to really like it. I think that they came across as believable, and it wasn't corny. It could have been very corny. You know, there were some scenes where they do the singing, you know, where he's drunk and they're singing. I thought that played beautifully, honestly. And in my head, we're filming. I'm like, I don't know, is this gonna work? And I really do think it worked. We took a chance, and I think it worked.
You did, yeah. I think it works too. As kudos to your directing and maybe the set atmosphere you created, and then these actors. It wasn't corny at all. Maybe it could have been a fine line between like just not delivering or working, and it works. It works. What was the set like? The atmosphere on the set?
Imagine you're a summer camp, you know. So we were all shooting up in the UP, about 9.5 hours from Detroit, and it's still in Michigan. You just drive straight north, go into the UP. You're in the middle of nowhere, and you have two houses. You have the girl's house and the guy's house. The actors were both with, so we stayed with Henry and the other male actors, and the females stayed with Jet and the other female actresses. And it was great. Every night we would have dinner together. We would have lunch on set together. We would do different things, go into town together, go to the brewery if we had a day off, which we only had one day off, I think.
Right.
And it was an up north atmosphere, up north summer camp atmosphere. Everyone had the time of their lives. Everyone comes up to me to this day and said, that was the best time of my life. That was 1 month of just, you know, having a great time and being creative. And
so everybody got along.
Everyone got along. It was beautiful, and everyone was getting paid nothing, pretty much. You know, the budget was
independent filmmaking.
Yeah, so everyone really gave me their 4 weeks of their life to be a part of this project, and I will never forget that. I'm making another film. Everyone who's on the first one is invited, and you get a pay raise. You get a pay raise. So I'm just happy that a lot of them were my friends. I would say we had 23 people on the crew, and I would say 5 to 6 of them are professionals. Everyone else never was on a film before. My hair and makeup artist never worked on a film before. She was great. My wardrobe, she never worked on a film before. She was great. You know, set design, never worked on a film. All my PAs never been on film. It was, we just went to town. You know, obviously a lot of preparation, me, you know, telling them this is what we got to do the night before and get everyone to where they need to be, but it was a great atmosphere.
Well, and that goes to show you how, you know, I'm a filmmaker too, how important it is to recruit or hire or cast people that you want to work with, not just like, you know, the best. Sometimes, you know, it's good to have the best, but if they're a jerk, doesn't matter, right? So it's good to have a good team around you that's all got the same kind of focus and goal in mind.
Yeah, it wouldn't have made sense for me to have the best of anyone on that set, because they would have just been, what the hell are you doing? You know?
Right.
They would just steamroll me right away, and they would have just done their own thing. It wouldn't have made sense. So I think it was a perfect group of people willing to learn and do things for the first time, and a few people who were really good at what they did, but they were in no way or the best, you know?
Right. Yeah, that's a good point. And, you know, with some of your scenes, and as you said, it was all on the page, right? So everyone knew, no surprises. But even with independent filmmaking, like, you know, that's kind of an advanced film, if you will, for a first, this is your first feature?
First feature, yes.
I mean, it's a challenging kind of project with the kind of the things you mentioned, you know, nudity, abuse, smoking. So it can go wrong quick if you don't create the right kind of atmosphere, environment.
Yeah, it could definitely go wrong. We never felt like it was being pressured, or like it never felt like pressure, because we did so much planning, you know. So we made sure that every movement in those scenes that were a little bit more intense was rehearsed many times. And you know, for instance, for the nudity scenes, well, I only had women. I had above the line women in my crew, because I knew that this was going to be a movie where Jet needed that support. You know, we didn't have any men in the room on set when she was nude.
How about you?
I was in the other room watching on monitor.
Okay.
I wanted to make sure that she was comfortable, because that was the way to get the performance. You know, I don't care about I don't need to see her naked right there. When I have a monitor and my DP filming it and doing exactly what I'm telling her to do, and Jet is doing exactly what I'm telling her to do, why do I need to be in there and make it even more, just more tense, you know? So that was, I think, a good call on my part,
I
and
agree.
it ended up working out beautifully because she felt super comfortable, and she was with my AD, who was Reagan Tang, she's a great AD, and my DP. They're both women, and then I had the sound guys would come up and plant the mics all around the room, and then they would monitor the audio
Hmm.
from the second floor.
So that, yeah, fantastic approach. I like that little secret too. I'll keep that in mind for my set of tools when I make a movie or a scene like that. How did you get the locations and stuff? Because that probably aided in the ability to, work that way, so say.
Yeah, the locations, I was looking around. We almost shot in Iowa in 2017 with half the budget. It would have been a shit show. I'm so happy we didn't do that. But I was looking for budget for a reasonable place where I could shoot this, where it wasn't going to take the entire budget. And I was literally looking on Google Maps for 2 years. And eventually I started working my way up to the UP, and I see these little plots of land. A lot of them are abandoned, run down. You can't do anything with them. And I see this little farm in it's basically engulfed by a forest, and I start looking into it more and more. I see it's a homestead, and now a museum. So it was a homestead from 1881 all the way until the 60s, and then the people, they wanted running water and stuff, so they left.
Hmm.
But the family still owns it, so eventually I got in contact with the owners of the homestead, and I begged them to let me shoot on their property.
So simply by doing a Google search, it started that way, if you will.
Yeah, and I was doing this for years, because I had the original, like 7 years ago is when I started really pursuing this as a feature. So I was
Ah,
working a shoot, when you're writing, you're the first line into a feature film and you're already looking at locations, like
uh-huh.
it's ridiculous. But I just got lucky with it, and they gave me a great deal. I have a great relationship with the people up there now, and I go up there regularly. I'm going up ice
Wow.
fishing in February, so we've made like a family kind of bond. So
Oh,
it
that's cool.
worked out. Yeah.
Ah, neat story. Wow. And then, how about like getting the lighting, the stuff up there, because I remember again the black and white cinematography and the Prohibition era kind of look. Sometimes I think, right, there's just like a single light source. Maybe it's even natural light, like a candle. Is that true? Is that right?
Yeah, that's absolutely true. I think 50% of the films shot with one or two lights max. The other shot with one light or no lights. We didn't have any electricity on set, so we had a solar powered generator that we used sparingly because it only lasted a couple hours. So for those night scenes, we would get candles everywhere, and then I'd run one panel with a solar powered generator. Maybe we would have two if we had really weak lights. We would put two, but
Did
that
you
was
ever run out of power? I mean, if you didn't have electricity, so then you just say, well, we'll shoot the candle scenes or whatever.
Yeah, well, the thing was, we ran out of power, I think once or twice for sure, in the middle of shooting one of the bathroom scenes, which we really needed the light. It was so pitch black in there, and we're shooting on Alexa Mini, but even still, it wouldn't pick up
Right.
the flames. So we would
Right.
just have to say, okay, we're packing up, we're going home at like 2 a.m. We'd be middle of the day shooting kind of thing.
Uh-huh.
2 a.m. and we just head home. That's it. We gotta charge up.
Amazing. And then I also stand up for me. The editing's great too. And there's so many wonderful things about this movie. Well done. Um, the ending, I just have here in my notes. Love the ending minute. Can you talk about that? Because I'm trying to refresh my memory, but
Yeah,
it cuts with the music. And so one of the questions I have: what came first, the music or the edit? So talk about that ending.
the edit came first, and then we kind of fixed the edit when we got the music. We kind of messed around with it a little bit, but I think the ending is basically showing, because everyone's life is unraveling before our eyes. Obviously Henry has lost it completely at that point. James is murdered. uh Elizabeth is on the brink of killing herself potentially, uh or giving herself abortion basically right then and there, because she feels so ashamed of herself for what she did. um
So was that in the script? That
that was
approach?
all in the script, yeah.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, that was all written. Everything that you see, honestly, scene for scene, cut by cut, is the exact way it was written.
Right.
um but I'm happy that I will say the flash. So there's a little flashback, right? That when she's about to maybe kill herself, you start seeing these flashbacks. That was written, but it wasn't as in detailed. Because once we had all the footage in the can, we could kind of go back and make, okay, maybe we should
Right.
show that. It's definitely, you can leave it up for the audience interpretation of why she's seeing James and Henry in the same spot.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you remember, but they're both at the dinner table.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
that could be seen as a bunch of different things, and I don't want to say what I think it is because I don't want to ruin anyone's interpretation of the film.
Let the audience keep it figure it out themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, fantastic. So we only have a couple more minutes here, but what's next for this film? What are you putting in other festivals?
Yeah, so we've been in 5 or 6 festivals over the last couple months. Had some good success for sure. I think we have another 10 more that we're waiting for. And then after that, we're hoping to get it out there. You know, we don't really need to make money on it. You know, it was pretty cheaply made, and
But
we
it'd
just
be
want people
nice.
to, yeah, it would be nice. It'd be nice. But I would love for people to just see it. So I'm gonna start contacting streaming, and
Right on.
you know,
Yeah.
I'm sure it's gonna, worst case scenario, be on what, Turbo or whatever, one of those no name.
Tubo. Hey man, hey, watch it. My movie's on Tubo right now, or Tubi or whatever.
I'll be on there with you, man.
um, and then what's something a takeaway for you for this from this? Like, what'd you learn, or what's something you share advice wise?
I would say that you definitely have to be a little bit crazy to do this.
Did your subject material? I mean, that's another thing. I always wonder, like, if you're an editor on a film like this, or like, did it affect you? Did it, mess with your kind of dreams at night?
It did, because it was weird. I started falling in love with characters and hating characters. And when I was writing them, I loved other characters, and then when you see them acting, you're like, oh, I actually really like the way he did that in person. Oh my God, I'm loving this. But when I was writing, I hated him. So it definitely messed me up a little bit. I was messed up for a while, honestly. I didn't start editing it until about 3 months after the last shot, just because I
Okay.
didn't want to look at it or see it. But anyway, I would just say, if you want to do it, just do it. Because especially if you're independent like me and no one's going to really help you, you can do your fundraisers, you can do this and that. But I mean, if you even have $50,000, that's a lot of money. If $1 million is kind of out of the question if you're in Detroit and you want to if you're in not LA or Chicago or New York, and if you want to do it, just do it. I mean, you're gonna have to cut some corners, but you can make something beautiful, and hopefully people will watch it. I
So
think
are you saying also that you just like didn't have, did you have everything in place? Like maybe you didn't do a fundraiser or you didn't have all the money. Like, did you just say we're going forward, even if did you have everything you needed to start?
pretty much I just had my credit card for backup. I had
Uh,
cash, and I just said, whatever the hell has to happen to make this thing work, we're gonna fucking do it. And we
did you
did.
write the script though with that kind of budgetary constraints and independent filmmaking approach in mind?
Yeah, I think that's the one thing that I would say you could tell for sure, is that, I mean, there's only what, 6 characters.
Right.
We could have gone deep into the world of
And only one location, if you will, other than like going into town for the storage scene.
right, yeah, one location. So that was definitely, kind of like the Reservoir Dogs approach, I guess.
Yeah,
But
little mariachi.
yeah, exactly. But it played out decently enough where I think it's believable, and I don't think it comes off as a cheap film. My
No,
bias
no,
is saying that, but
it doesn't hinder it at all. I mean, you've created this atmospheric, movie that really puts you in the characters' heads and space. So congratulations, well done.
thank you very much. I'm hoping that I can just keep doing these. Even if I can't get the money for a huge budget, make 5 of these. One of them will stand out.
Well, sometimes our lack of resources is our best friend. Use what you do have to make a movie, as opposed to have unlimited resources, and then you'll just get distracted.
I agree completely.
Yeah. Well done, my friend. Thank you for submitting to our festival. Thank you for making this movie. Make another movie. I think you should.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. And do you have anything you want to add before we sign off here?
I just wanted to thank the San Francisco Independent Film Festival for having my film playing. That's super badass of you guys. I really love it. I'm hoping that we get some people to see it and everyone liked it, and hopefully I get some feedback. If you ever want to say anything about the film, just shoot me something on Instagram. We have
What's
Attack.
your Instagram account?
It's at August Leo Film and at Attack of the Flies. So if you have anything good or bad to say, I want to hear it all. Just please.
All right, you got it. Well, we definitely liked your film here at SF Indie Fest, so thank you. All right, that's all the time we have. Thanks, audience, for watching, and check out more great independent movies at San Francisco Independent Film Festival. All right, guys, have a good one.